And welcome back to the Arts Magazine show right here on KKFI 90.1 FM, your community radio station right here in Kansas City. I'm Michael Hogue, your host. In the second half of the program today, we're going to talk about a new organization, part of a older organization, but we're going to talk about the new show they have going on, Music Theater Kansas City Pro. It's their fourth show, and here to talk about it with me is Julie Danielson. She is the artistic director and resident music director of Music Theater Kansas City. You remember the old Music Theater for Young People?
Yep.
That was her mother's organization.
Mm-hmm.
And she continues flying the mantle and all of that. They have some holiday shows going on at a brand new space at the B&B Theaters over on Midland Drive in Kansas City, Kansas. And she's going to talk about the show they're doing, All Is Calm, a story of the Christmas truce of 1914. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, she's been around. She lived in New York for a time. She was involved with several shows around here. Did things for the Kansas City Rep, Spinning Tree Theater, Musical Theater Heritage. Lived in New York for a time. So you got around.
Yeah.
You got a handle on things.
Yeah, I actually grew up here in Kansas City. I trained with my mom and her organization, which when I was a kid was MTYP, Music Theater for Young People. When I was in college, I got some opportunities to assist the music directors in teaching some of the music, and I found that I really enjoyed that. And so, because some of the listeners might not know that at MTKC, which is our new name, Music Theater Kansas City, we do all of our shows in 1 week with our students. And so because it was only 1 week, I could live in New York and I could fly back and do a show because it was only for 7 days. So that's how I was able to start getting involved again, was flying back from New York to come and music direct shows. And then in 2013, I moved back to Kansas City and became artistic director.
Well, that was very daunting of you to try. You know, that's the Big Apple, and you decided to take a big bite out of it.
Oh, yeah. I just knew I wanted to be a Broadway pit orchestra musician, and that's the place to do it. And so I got brave, and I moved up there, and I had some really, really great opportunities up there. Did
you work at some of the famous Broadway theaters?
Yeah, I got to play for Legally Blonde, and I even played Smash, the TV show, and they recorded up in Harlem at one of the big old, it's called the United Palace. It's included in Lin-Manuel's new American Express ad. Have you seen that commercial?
I think I have.
He's outside that theater up in Harlem. That's where we filmed Smash. And then I went out on tour with Spring Awakening, the first national tour of that. I played bass in the band for that show, and I got to work with Lin-Manuel Miranda. He was my boss on Bring It On. I was his music assistant. So.
Wow. Well, you're back here doing shows. MTKC is now doing shows at the B&B Theater.
Yes.
On Midland Drive out in, I believe it's Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of Shawnee and Kansas City, Kansas. And it is an 18-theater movie complex, and we decided that they'd probably be okay with just 17. So we put on a big smile and went down and asked, and they said yes. So we convinced them to turn one of their theaters into a live theater space just for us.
So you were able to talk them into it. You must be a very good negotiator.
Yeah, I think we had a really good pitch, and they are very, very supportive of live theater as well. So, we have a stage, we have a full theatrical lighting grid, all LED, 300 seats, and we're known for having the most comfortable seats in town. Lots of leg room, cup holders, you can bring popcorn in.
I bet so. Did you have to do much remodeling with the theater?
It wasn't a lot of remodeling as much as it was bringing in, and installing the stage, and the lighting grid was the biggest expense and the biggest time. But we opened last year with an MTKC Pro show, which was the musical version of A Wonderful Life. That was our grand opening.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the show. There's actually two of them.
Mm-hmm.
All Is Calm. It's about the Christmas truce of 1914. Hasn't been very long ago. I remember seeing a documentary about that. And it actually had footage of the soldiers from the various sides shaking hands in the middle of a battle. It became Christmas Day, I guess, and they just stopped shooting at each other, actually got close enough to shake hands with each other and all of that.
It's a true story. I mean, it sounds like a fable.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and it has just in the last 5 or 6 years become a more popular story. There's a movie, Joyeux Noël, that is about that same story. It's not a musical, but it is a fictional movie, but it's based on that same true story. And this piece was created in Minneapolis by a theater company called Theater La Teda, and their artistic director, Peter Rothstein, was very moved by the story, so he decided to create this piece, which combines a cappella choral music with monologues that are directly taken from letters and journals from the soldiers who were there.
Yeah, it is incredible to believe that this actually happened in the middle. And I guess once Christmas is over, did they go back?
Unfortunately, it was like only about 24 hours until it was mostly the officers that didn't know it was happening who then came back to the trenches and discovered that the soldiers had been mixing with the other side, and they got a little bit in trouble. And the war...
Too late.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's just devastating to think about, that it could have been so peaceful. And that, I think the idea to me is that it's not a personal one-on-one, you are my enemy. It's this idea of a more broad, general enemy. And when it comes all the way down to just one-on-one, they didn't feel like enemies. They were all just trying to help find peace in the world. And so they decided to have peace together that one night.
Well, it is amazing, and you've put it to music, or the Peter Rothstein.
Yes,
I guess he wrote it.
There's a choral group called Cantus that is a very well respected choral group that travels the country, and so they actually teamed up with Cantus, and the arrangers of that group wrote the arrangements for this piece, and they originally performed it in Minneapolis. So it's pretty complex harmonies, I have to say. We're working really hard on those. So we have 8 men in the cast. They're all singing in the a cappella ensemble, and then they step out and do their scene work. And they play all different characters from both sides. So they don't necessarily play one specific character. They all represent British, Belgian, Scottish, Irish, and German soldiers.
But in chance to... One of my grandfathers was what they called a doughboy, and I've never been able to find out why they called them that. Do you know?
I don't know. That's not in this story, but
this isn't with anyone's.
This is before the Americans joined the war, so there's no American characters in it. So that might have been an American term. I'm not sure.
So it's all original songs sung a cappella by the gentlemen in the cast.
Yes, it's actually original arrangements, but they're songs that a lot of people would recognize. So there's a lot of Christmas carols. Obviously, as you can guess from the title, All Is Calm, there's a beautiful arrangement of Silent Night. There's a great arrangement of Auld Lang Syne. And then there's a big medley of Angels We Have Heard on High, First Noel, Good King Wenceslas. A lot of carols are in it. Then there's a lot of English folk songs, a lot of German patriotic songs, and wartime songs. There's even an arrangement of Alexander's Ragtime Band with different lyrics that were used to enlist new British soldiers.
Do you want to talk about some of the folks you have involved in the show, performing-wise?
Yeah, like I said, it's a cast of 8 men, and in this time of the Me Too movement, I was a little nervous to do a cast with all men, but I would like to state that it's a company that is all women produced. So my mom's a producer, and I'm the director. We have a female stage manager, so we're giving a lot of amazing female artists some work as well.
Well, there probably weren't any female soldiers at the time.
And I contacted the writer and asked him about it, and he said that he actually tried the very first version to have women in the cast, and he said it just didn't feel right because there were no women on the Western Front in 1914. This story belongs to a very specific group of men, and so it just felt better having it be told by the men who are representing the soldiers who were there. So we have 8 men who range from age about 20 to 40, and most of them grew up in Kansas City, and we have about half and half. Half probably consider themselves more actors, and half of them consider themselves more of choral vocal singers. But they're all coming together. It's amazing.
Now, this is one of two shows you're doing. All Is Calm, The Christmas Truce of 1914. It opens on Friday, December the 7th at 8 o'clock p.m. Performances continue on the 8th, which is Saturday at 8 o'clock p.m. Then we have a matinee on Sunday the 9th at 2 o'clock p.m. More performances the next week, Friday the 14th at 8. Saturday, two shows on Saturday the 15th, 2 o'clock p.m. In the afternoon. And at night on the 15th at 8 o'clock p.m. And virtually the same thing on Sunday except for a slight time change. Sunday the 16th, the matinee at 2 o'clock p.m. And Sunday the 16th as well, a show at 7 o'clock p.m. at the B&B Theaters, 16301 Midland Drive, Kansas City, Kansas. If you MapQuest things, you need that zip code 66217 inside the B&B Theaters. Do they have a number they have to ask for, or do they just...
No, you come in right through the main doors. You get to buy your tickets just like a movie, and we're in Auditorium 7. It's just right off the lobby, so we get a lot of foot traffic. A lot of people are very curious about what's happening inside with the live theater, and it's just a great place for us. And we rented theaters all over the city for the last 27 years, so it's very nice to have our own home and have everyone know exactly where to find us when we have a production.
I'll bet so. And the concessions are so easy. You go to the regular concession stand.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We don't have to do box office. We don't have to do concessions. We don't have to do housekeeping. It's like great.
Well, it sounds like a nice arrangement. How did they originally feel about combining live theater with the movies they were showing?
Well, I mean, last year our season was all musicals that were inspired by movies, and so that was kind of a fun way to celebrate our new partnership at B&B. But actually, 4 of the kids in their family trained with MTKC. So they had a long history with us, and they have a long history of supporting live theater. So I think it was just something they hadn't thought of. But a lot of movie theaters are working to finding what they call alternative entertainment. So you would maybe have an arcade, or you'd have a bowling alley, or you'd have a jazz club, or you'd have a wine bar. A lot of these movie theaters are trying to have multiple options under one roof, and we're the first ones in the country that we know of to have a live theater side by side in the same movie complex.
If you have questions, you can call 913-341-8156, or you would probably rather they went to the MTKC.org website, where they could get a lot of the same information and things of that nature.
Yep.
But I'm assuming that they can probably just go to the box office and buy a ticket, just like they would if they were going to see Bohemian Rhapsody or something?
Correct, yeah, and it's all reserved seating. So if you have a certain spot you like to sit, then you might want to do it ahead of time, but you can buy them any time at the B&B box office, too.
Do they have the previews of coming attractions?
No, but we do have a pre-show that that we use the screen. I didn't tell you that they left the screen and the digital projector that we use for most of our backdrops now. So we get to have that screen, and so we kind of do a pre-show of our own. So that is coming up soon, December 7th. That's, a little over a week away. Time is getting short for you to prepare, but it sounds like a very interesting and thought-provoking show. Yeah, definitely. Around Christmas time, we all think about world peace and those things, and to think that for one night in the middle of a war, just a small group of people decided to be brave and trust each other and find peace among people with different opinions and different backgrounds. It's a beautiful thing that we probably still need to be thinking about today.
It's amazing that could happen. Probably wouldn't happen today.
Yeah, and this is the 100th anniversary of World War I ending, so it's interesting that we happen to be doing this piece this year.
Oh, sure. And significant that the World War I Memorial is right here in Kansas City.
We're partnering with them for some different events and stuff. So.
Yeah, see, this is a play, I'm not knocking B&B, but this is a play you probably could have done over at the Memorial Auditorium.
Yeah, and if this goes well, then it might become something we could try to do more regularly at, every year, something like that, and perform it at the Memorial possibly.
Well, you're thinking smart.
Yeah.
Now, you have another holiday presentation a little bit later on, Music of the Night. It runs December the 28th through the 30th, also at the B&B Theaters. And it sounds like it's just music of the holidays.
It's actually a review of the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. So you're going to get all the hits. Phantom, Cats, Joseph, Jesus Christ Superstar. And some of his lesser-known stuff like Starlight Express, Sunset Boulevard, Aspects of Love. But it's all Andrew Lloyd Webber music, and we'll have a live orchestra, a big cast of singers and dancers, and that's going to feature our training program. So there will be a children's chorus, just like if you're familiar with Andrew Lloyd Webber, a lot of his shows have a children's chorus in it. It's kind of his thing. So you've got the kids doing School of Rock and doing Joseph and things like that, starting at age 8. And we go all the way up to age 18. So you'll see some of our really talented high school seniors doing some amazing things. And like I said, we always use a live orchestra at MTKC, so there'll be a big full orchestra on stage.
Yeah, now on previous visits when her mother was here, we talked about her mother's special technique of preparing the students. They have a limited number of rehearsals. Of course, they're probably longer rehearsals.
Yeah, they're 12 hours.
Yeah. But it was like you put up a show from beginning to end in... Was it 72 hours? Well,
we learn the whole thing in about 72. So the first 3 days are learning. Then the next 3 days are cleaning and reviewing and adding tech, and then we perform. So our students actually are very, very well trained in this professional intensive environment, and so many of our students who have gone on to professional Broadway careers have said they wouldn't have been able to do it without this training, because they will get cast in a show and they'll be going on 3 days later. And they said, if I hadn't learned how to do a show in 3 days, I don't know how on earth I would have jumped into this.
Oh, sure.
So we're preparing them for the most professional possible experience.
That is probably good training for them to do that.
Yeah. And that's what we focus on, is the professional training. Yes, we do it through practical application, through production, but we're not just a production company. We really are training these students to have that professional career.
Well, you made the decision at some point to expand over to a more professional-based show, which is All Is Calm. So I guess it's the fourth professional production that you've done?
Right. So one of my dreams when I was living in New York and answering to everyone else's, I had to wait for a job being offered by someone else. And I had this dream of maybe being able to be involved with the creative side and be able to offer other artists jobs and not have to be the one waiting around. So I had this dream of opening my own professional company, and so I talked to my mom, and we decided that we'd have it live under the umbrella of MTKC, and we would just call it MTKC Pro. And the really neat thing is it allows our students to see what that potential trajectory could be for them. And it also shows them that there's great professional theater in Kansas City, that they don't necessarily have to go to New York. As fun as it is, you don't have to go to New York to go be a successful professional performer. So
Sure. But it was very clever of you. I don't know how you did it. You were able to talk B&B into giving up one of their theaters.
Yeah.
You're having your shows in that space.
Yeah, and by having the professional company in addition to the training program, we're filling the theater more often. And then it's available for rent if people are interested in, using that theater for something else. But it's really nice to get first dibs on the space.
Sure.
Whenever someone requests it, we get asked, how is this date? Are you guys doing something? Whereas we used to be, fifth or sixth down the line to get a spot at another theater. So this is just great for us.
Where would you like to see it go? Do you want to get bigger and move into one of the bigger theaters?
Oh, well, actually, we're in the biggest theater. However, our original plan was to knock the back wall out, build a big old stage house with flies and everything, and have it be more seats. We were not able to raise that money the first time around, although I think we did pretty good raising $600,000 as a small unknown organization.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We had some really great donations from some local organizations and foundations. But we were able to still take that theater. We took out some seats and put the stage directly in that same room. So it's just a little smaller than our first plan. We have 300 seats, but our ultimate goal is to continue raising money and to build that large one so it could be up to close to 500 seats.
Yeah, it's always a good.
Someday.
It's always a nice story when people take a chance, do something big like this, and it sounds like so far it's paid off for you.
It definitely has. And the professional company, the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm just going to try it. But we had such a great base built already with our audiences, with our board of directors. We have a great support at MTKC. So adding the professional company was very smooth And, this is our 4th show with the professionals. So.
Yeah. Well, let's go over the pertinent details again. All is Calm, the Christmas Truce of 1914, will open on Friday, the 7th of December at 8 o'clock p.m. Performances continue Saturday night at the 8th at 8 o'clock p.m. A matinee on Sunday the 9th at 2 o'clock p.m. Then another weekend of shows, Friday the 14th at 8 o'clock, Saturday the 15th, 2 big shows, 2 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, and Saturday evening the 15th, 8 o'clock p.m. Then the same situation on Sunday the 16th, 2 o'clock p.m. matinee, and Sunday the 16th, a 7 o'clock p.m. performance, not 8 but 7 on the closing Sunday the 16th. At the B&B Theaters, the Music Theater Kansas City part of B&B Theaters, 16301 Midland Drive, Kansas City, Kansas. Are you going to get to have your name on the marquee?
Oh man, that'll be the day. No, they don't really have a marquee anymore, but they do have the posters outside, and they help us advertise that way. And there's even digital screens outside each theater, and so we can put our poster on the digital screen. So
is noise problem? I mean, if Bohemian Rhapsody is right next door, does that
can you believe
over?
it? I mean, I was like, we're going to hear Jurassic Park booming through but we don't hear anything, and we have our big full live orchestras and microphones, and no one hears us either. It's really, I was surprised, honestly, but it's very well soundproofed.
I'm glad it works out so well. Then later on in December, the 28th, 29th, and 30th, Music of the Night. That's basically your student company and
Correct.
Children's chorus.
Yes, and I'm telling you, they are amazing, and you wouldn't know that they weren't part of our professional company. Our students are the top notch. And again, full orchestra. That's going to feel like a much bigger show in that sense. Large cast, lots of dancing, and with the orchestra. Whereas All Is Calm is a very intimate show. It's just 8 men. It's all a cappella, so there's no orchestra in this one. So.
And I assume on this one they haven't even begun rehearsing yet, because they'd be outside of their window.
The students have not, right. Yeah, the All Is Calm is rehearsing, but the students don't start until the 20th.
All going on. That will be the 28th, 29th, and 30th for that. So 2 presentations of Music Theater Kansas City. All Is Calm, beginning on Friday the 7th of December, and then Music of the Night later on, slightly after Christmas. So it's the 28th, 29th, and 30th. All the performances are at the B&B Theaters, 16301 Midland Drive, Kansas City, Kansas. The number to call for questions is 913-341-8156, or on the Music Theater Kansas City website, MTKC.org, where there's links, and you can get to where you need to get to.
Absolutely.
Plus answer a lot of the questions.
Yeah, you can learn more about us and see our production history and all kinds of things.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
for coming by, Julie. Julie Danielson. She is the Artistic Director and Resident Music Director of Music Theater Kansas City, and they are presenting these holiday shows. After the holidays, do you have something scheduled sometime after that as well?
We are producing Big River in partnership with the Black Repertory Theater with Damron in March. So that'll be our next big production, and then we'll be announcing our summer dates at these shows. So
yeah. I suggested to him he should do more collaboration.
Yeah, it's so great. I mean, this is such an amazing theater town. I think we should all work together. So
sure. And that's going to be at the B&B as well?
Everything's at B&B.
Well, he's at 2 different theaters now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he's at 18th and Vine for one, and then he's down on Blue River Parkway, is it, down south?
Yeah. So, yeah, we hope some people will want to come spend their holidays with us, some good alternative theater opportunities.
Yeah. Julie Danielson, our guest on this portion of the Arts Magazine show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being with us. Say hello to the mother.
Yes, absolutely.
She's been with us before as well.
She taught me everything I know.
Well, that's a double-edged sword, you know. The Jazz Insider is next. Sam Wiseman, he'll be playing some fine jazz for you this afternoon. We'll have jazz from 1 to 3. We'll have the blues from 3 to 6 right here on your community radio station, 90.1 FM KKFI, Kansas City's community radio. So until next we meet, ladies and gentlemen, at that cross in the road, I'm Michael Hogue. We'll see you next time.